Oh, hey, it's me. Oh, Jesus. Hey, it's me. It's Paul Carpenter. This is number 77. There you are, 365. And this one's called Never Going Back. I started 5. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I hope that wherever you are is doing good, and wherever you are is doing good for you. Let's not look at trash cans. I want art. There, that's better. I don't know. This one's number 77 of 365. Holy crap, we're still going. And this one's called Never Going Back. Have you ever been at a point in your life when you recognize that what was behind you has fallen down, has fallen apart, has become different? You may think to yourself, like, whoa, bro, like, hey, man, really, dude, like, for real? Like, did this just happen? Did this just happen? And that's kind of the thing that you're going through, right? Like, and then all of a sudden you recognize that what was, and was supposed to be. Nothing happens out of place. Nothing happens because it's not supposed to. It happens because it's going to. And so, bear with me. Life is like a roller coaster. Or I like putting it more like building a mountain. Climbing a mountain. Disc golf. Love you, Martin. Miss you. Thank you for coming back and watching again. Appreciate you. Life is like a literally just woke up, so give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna be there. Life is like a roller coaster, or yeah, like a roller coaster. Let's just put it there. I like to say it's always like a slide. Or climbing a mountain. We'll go with the climbing a mountain one. So you can read as many books as you want. I don't care how many you have. I've got lots of them. You can read as many books as you'd like about stuff. Like, this one's called Do I Have to Give Me Up to Be Loved by You? This one's called How to Read the Tarot. This one's called The Vortex, right? And this is Feng Shui made easy. Listen, you can read anything you want all day long. All day long. And if you never actually start to train to climb the mountain, if you never actually get off of whatever it is that you're doing, and not that thing, then you'll never get to that place. You'll say you know how. Oh, wow, well, you say you know how. But I've taken all the courses, and I've taken all the things, and I went to the school. It showed me how. I'm smart because I have a diploma. Hey, Sarah, I love you. Call me when I'm done with this if you wouldn't mind. I would love to hear your voice. I need to tell you some things. But the idea of today's little thing is no going back. Like, sometimes we want to go back to the past or a past situation because of the triumphs that happened in that situation. But sometimes, like I've been talking about this a lot lately, there's a difference between ruminating about something Like when you start ruminating about something, it means that you're like constantly in your head about it in a negative way. Whereas when you're reminiscing on something, you're light about it. Like you're like, oh, I remember that. It was so good. Whereas if you're ruminating, it's like, oh God, like that thing, and I can't believe I did that thing, and oh God, that thing, I can't believe, oh, that thing, oh God, that's rumination. So, I made something yesterday. So, an ex-partner, she used to have a stuffed animal. I think she still does. But, a little stuffed animal, and he looks like a little rhinoceros. And she put a tie on him at one point, and the tie had little spaceman flying around. You can't really see that, but and I put it under like resin yesterday so that I could actually. I'm putting it inside of like one of those, like, you know how they make those little things out of. It's gonna be clear, and it's just gonna be like a little clear. I don't know. It's kind of cute. But my point here is that we're talking about no going back. I think that's actually a perfect reference for no going back. I really, 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 really do, now that I thought about it. There's a way that you can take the thing that is something that was bad in your past and take a moment from that past to reminisce upon it, but yet you can enclose it so that nothing else can go back to it. Oh, this beautiful existence that I live, my friends. That we all live. That if you were only to be aware of something small like this and that connection that I just put together. Because, man, it's good. So I went out last night. I go to two things I do every week. It's a karaoke kind of thing on Monday nights with my friend Andy. And then on Tuesday nights, I like to go to this place called Union Tavern. I've been doing it for, 5-6 years, something. I don't know. Long time. And while I was there, my ex-partner, her friends are there because one of them is one of her friends is dating a good friend of mine, and also he is roommates with a really good friend of mine. So that makes it awesome, doesn't it? And so I go into this place, which everybody knows. It's Palm. Yeah. It's nice. Don't get me wrong. Oh, side note to biggest side note to side note. Let's get to that one first. Holy crap. I've had this happen to me a couple times in my life, right? I'm not, like, by any means famous, by any means well-known around the world, like some kind of, celebrity. And so when this experience happens, it's very trippy. But I make these videos every day, right? So, and I've been doing it for a couple of years. I have podcasts from when I was 28 years old. If you look up, I don't know if you care to, but if you look up Blog Talk Radio with Paul Carpenter or Mentally Hip, bro, we got some recordings from when I was 28 online. It's great. What I was getting at, though, last night, I'm at Union Tavern, and my friend Zach, who's one of the people who has reposted one of my videos every single day. Every single day. I'm hanging out with some people, blah, 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 blah. And Zach, who's like this 6 foot, 2, 6'4", like just behemoth of a human being, just like, and he goes up and he's like, tap, tap, tap. And I just turn on, I'm like, and it's like a teddy bear, so I'm like, I love you, man. And we're having this moment, and he's like, I wanted you to introduce you to my friend. And he looks at me and he goes, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I just, like, immediately you get, he's like, bro, I love watching your videos. And I get to watch them because he posts them, because we're not friends on Facebook. And then, man, talk about protected by angels, right? So then, when I first walked in, one of the friends was right, and I giving me the stink eye and like all this stuff. I'm like, what is wrong with people? Like I'm not a bad person here, kids. And so then all of a sudden, this woman that I'd never met her before, but she's hanging out with friends, and I'm like, what the fuck? Who is this woman? So anyways, at one point or another, we start talking. I find out that we're friends on Facebook. She added me from somebody like around video number 22 of this year. The first thing I say to her is like, oh my God, thank you for staying, because you've seen some crazy in my life as of recently. And so I was just, since I'm doing this side note real quick, I'm just so thankful for some of these to be impactful enough for other people to want to keep watching. I really, really appreciate that. So let's get back to the story. At one point, I just don't deal very well in situations where I know something or I can feel the energy of it, right? So I just walk over, because I'm a ballsy fuck like that. And I just walked up and I'm like, yo, I'd much rather be an adult and act like children and not have a second point of view. If you'd like to sit down and talk to me about what happened, I wouldn't mind. But I don't appreciate this kind of energy based on your one-sided understanding of the situation. Now, one of these girls becomes kind of like, I'm worried about her. And then she asks me for her phone number, which was very weird. Because I'm thinking, aren't you friends with her? And don't you have her number? And then she like starts looking over my shoulder to like find what numbers I have in my phone of. And I'm like, yo, dude, like, she's like, oh, give me this number too. And I'm like, you know her. I'm going to give you her number, and then you can call her and figure it out. But I'm not going to give you this woman's mom's number that you don't know. Okay. Felt weird giving her the number in the first place. I'm thinking, why wouldn't this girl have her number? And then she's like, oh, well, I had broken my phone. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. Now it makes more sense. But the thing that I didn't think about, because I'm in this weird moment of stress, is that the girl who accused me of calling the cops shows up, and they're all buddy-buddy. So I'm like, why the fuck is she asking me the phone number if that girl has the number right there? I don't know. The point of this video was never going back. Locking it away in that little cube of what is the past. Because it's absolutely asinine to go back just because one thing or two things were good. So you're willing to accept somebody like stabbing you repeatedly, or you're willing to accept somebody abusing you repeatedly only because one of those things was good. No, my friends. If you are all here with me, then we're here in a place of abundance. We're here in a place of love. We're not here in a place of anger or frustration or loss. No. We are here to be powerhouses. We are here to be light for the rest of the people who are lost. We are the ones that are the ones. You know how they said somewhere along the way, they're like, the meek shall inherit the earth. We're the meek, guys. And if we're inheriting something, bro, best be ready to be good to each other real quick. Best be ready to be good to each other real quick. Because if this is some kind of revelations, if this is some kind of end of the world, I don't think it is, but just if it is, wouldn't you much rather go away knowing that you did your best to be a good person? Like that you actually were a really good person. And that doesn't mean doesn't mean you have to meet 1 million people. Doesn't mean you have to change 1,000 lives. Doesn't. Just means be good. Don't hurt others. Do your best to not hurt others. Hurt people. I get that. We all get that. But just because other people hurt you doesn't mean that you stop loving the same way. Just because other people have damaged you doesn't mean that you sit there and go, well, just because this person did this, I'm only going to add this much to the puzzle because if I put in too much, I'm going to get burned again. No. Then you're not living fully, my friend. Then you're not fully getting into the story. Then all you're doing is allowing yourself to say, well, I can only if, well, I don't really need to, well, what is that? Is that really living the story? Let's think about that same process as in like jumping out of a plane. There's only a certain amount of time where you can jump out of a plane, right? Because based on the way the plane's flying, when you jump out, you're going to end up going like that, right? And the plane takes off, keeps going. And so there's only so much time for the space for you to hit your drop zone. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Because if you don't hit your drop zone, they got to fly or back around and do it again because it's the only place you can go. And so a person who doesn't fully commit is making the plane go round and round and round and round and round. A person who fully commits, who does not fully commit, is one that has a parachute on and is ready to pull the cord at any second. Who cares about the jump zone? That's a person who's not fully committed. That's a person who's not involved in the story. They're just there. Out of the way. Yeah, well, because, you see what I'm saying? And I know that I just kind of flipped the script on the jumping as two different things, right? So one thing is that the person doesn't commit, so they don't commit to the jump. And the other thing is they don't commit because they never put on the parachute. Or they never commit because they did have a parachute on. And I know that sounds a little off because it is. But if you think about this, like, as you're in love, it's like being on a plane that's about to crash. It's going to crash. And many times in today's world, while the plane's crashing, and now mind you, you could survive when the plane crashes. You could totally like live on the deserted island. Okay? Totally could do it. But the question really isn't about the crash afterwards. It's about the actual moment of being in the plane on the way down. Okay? Like you're in the plane. Like life's about to end. You know it for a fact. You're there, partner in hand. And you're like, okay, it's going to happen any second now. We are going to die. There's nothing we can do about this. Pilot's already dead. Plane's falling apart as we're crashing down. Pieces of the plane are flying off as we're sitting there together holding each other's hand. Person who doesn't commit is the person who's like, I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom. Or One moment there's a big bump on the turbulence on the way down, and then you're holding your head, you look to your right, and then nobody's there. Why? Because when you look back at the tumultuous craziness of the background of the plane falling apart, right? You see somebody with their parachute on. And you recognize, holy shit, I'm about to crash by myself. I'm about to this is gonna hurt. Where you knew it was gonna hurt a second ago. You knew it was gonna hurt a second ago. But for some reason, by having that person holding your hand, you knew the pain wasn't going to be that much. There might have been no pain at all, as a matter of fact. Could have been that great moment where you, long distance shot to the head. It's over. But instead, that person chose the parachute. That person chose to care more for themselves than they cared for you. Now, is this a bad thing? No. Is it a hurtful thing? No. Does it hurt? Yeah. But are you actually, because I truly believe that the people who watch are of high vibration, that are trying to really anoint themselves with better lives and better ideas and all these things, right? I truly believe that. And so I've said this before, if you were in the supermarket, right? And all of a sudden you went to an aisle and you picked something, you looked at it, you're like, nah, I don't want that. You put it back and then you walk away. Then all of a sudden, 3 steps away, you're like, wait, I really do want that. Then you turn around and you go back to grab it. And as you do that, a guy in a wheelchair with no arms and no legs runs over your feet. Are you really going to yell at him, her, for just living her life, his life? It's not their fault that they're in a wheelchair with no arms and no legs. So, okay, what do you do? 9 times out of 10 in that situation, most people would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And then I just changed my mind. I'm so sorry. And then, of course, guy in wheelchair goes, no, it's cool. Don't worry. Puts a little thing back in his mouth and then starts moving, There's this very beautiful poem by Ram Dass. He says, I went into the forest and I see trees of all different types, some that are pointing straight up, other ones that are bent and crooked, and other ones that were, having to survive under the most callous of situations. And every single one of them, I was amazed at their beauty. But when I went into the city, I saw people, and I saw some dressed like this and some dressed like that. Other ones acting this way, and other ones doing this thing. And I got very, very upset. Not at them, but at myself. Because I wish I could see people as trees. Today was a heavy one, guys. Today was a heavy download. The idea of no going back, the idea of taking something from your past and placing it, encasing it in plastic, the idea of keeping the memory but not the abuse, the idea of no going back. Don't go back to what was. Go into what will be. Someone said something to me the other day, I don't want to fall into love. I want to work up into it. And I was like, right? I don't want to fall in love. I want to work up into it. That's so good. Don't go back to an old life. We're in a different time, guys. This is a totally different time in the human world. Unlike anything else. Like the Renaissance on crack is what we're living right now. So don't go back. Don't go back to old ideas. Don't go back to old ways of thinking. Don't go back to being depressed. Don't go back to being angry. Don't go back to being self-sabotaging. Why? What the fuck are you going to get out of that? What am I going to get out of it? Absolutely shit. Except a pissed off person who's angry at everybody else, who gets nothing done for himself. Really? This guy? No. No. No going back. No going back to old relationships. No going back to old ways of thinking. No going back. No going back. No going back. So with that, my friends, please go out into the world and do something nice for somebody else. And if you can't, do something nice for yourself. It does start with you. Number 2, don't get caught up in all the crazy stuff that's going on in this world, because there are a lot of crazy things. And if you only think about those things in your head, you don't need it. I don't need it. Nobody needs it. And if you're holding on to it, it's only because you have expectations of what it should be, instead of just allowing it to be the beautiful thing that it is, whatever that thing is. Number 3, please like, share, subscribe. Send this out to somebody who needs to see it. If you'd like to support in any way, shape, or form, I do have a Patreon. That's Patreon.com/mentally hip. You can support by giving $1 a month all the way up to like $80 a month. It's all up to you. You get to choose. Number 2 of those things, I think that we already did the 2, 3. Then I think there's YouTube. If you don't want to watch this video on Facebook, but you want to share it with a friend of yours, and you're like, yeah, crazy guy, let's do it. Where's your YouTube channel? Well, it's Paul David Carpenter / of the YouTube, right? So YouTube / yeah, I already did that. And, or because I'm a broke ass right now, not forever, but right now, if you'd like to help me in any way, shape, or form, literally, I'm down to like 3 cents in my Cash App. I've got no money. If you want to send me some money, it's at mentally HYP2018 Cash App, little cash symbol with the mentally HYP2018. Send me some money, bastards. I'm broke. God, I don't know what to do with my life. Or I could just get a job, or I could go get unemployment, or I could, not ask you guys for shit. That would be nice. I thought about it. I only need like 1,000 people to give me $8 a month. And then I thought that was too much. So I was like, why don't we find like 10,000 people to give me 80 cents? Now that has to be easy. Seriously. That can't be hard. If I could find 10,000 people a month to give me 8 cents, that's $8,000 a month. If you can't live on $8,000 a month, something's bad. Now, I mean, mind you, I'm talking about a single person. I'm not talking about person with family and kids. And that becomes more expensive exponentially, right? Depending on the age of the kid and how many people in the household. And anyways. Hey, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mitchell Shaw, Ted, Zach, Cody. You've made it to the end. And I want to say this, as I say every single day. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for sharing this, Zach. Thank you for introducing me to your friend. Thank you for waking up with me in the morning. And thank you for allowing me to possibly give you a bit of something to think about. It really does touch some pretty deep moments for me. When we were talking about this, me and Zach were talking about this last night. He's like, when someone does that, doesn't it feel more important than a share or a like? And I was like, dude, somebody walking up to me and saying that they watch my videos and that they're in some way like expecting them and that they get something out of them is fucking life affirming. It's life affirming. There's nothing else that you could say. I mean, like I cherish making these when that's the vibe that I get. And somebody else is like, yo, dude, you don't know, bro. Like, straight up, Paul, like, You're Paul. I saw you in the video. Like, it's like, dude, you have, like, I won't even lie to you, bro. There's been a couple times where I watch your videos and I'm like, he just gave me this shit. He just gave it to me hard. And so that I'm even somewhat connected to something or whatever the thing that is, blah, 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 blah. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be me. Thank you for allowing me to be free. It's because of you. It's because of your support that I get to be me. So thank you. Last but not least, I want to say I love you all very much. I really do. And people sometimes get weirded out when somebody says I love you to them. Like a friend of mine just did that the other day. She's like, you said I love you, and I don't know, that was just very intense, and I don't use that word like that. And I was like, listen, I say I love you to every single person I've ever met, known, or will ever have contact with, because I'm gonna love as deeply and as hard as I ever have. I'm never gonna hold back from loving and being my honest, true self with somebody. I'm never gonna hold back from that. I won't. And I won't hold back from loving you guys. So, I want to say thank you very much for watching. And I appreciate you all. And I love you all so much. I'll see you all on the other side.